2026. Welcome to people online and in the gallery. Councillor Carroll will read out our welcome and acknowledgement of country. Thank you, Councillor Carroll.
Wodonga Council acknowledges Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as first peoples of the country. We also acknowledge them as traditional owners and custodians across various lands. We pay our respect to their ancestors, elders, children and young people. We acknowledge the strength and resilience of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and recognise their continuous connections to lands, waters and communities across the country.
We've got apologies and requests to attend by electronic means. Tonight, our Mayor, Councillor Goebel, is an apology. Myself as Deputy Mayor is filling in for him tonight. Next, we have our Good Governance pledge, and Councillor Aldridge will read that out.
Wodonga councillors have committed to undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the municipal community, abide by the Model Councillor Code of Conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the Model Councillor Code of Conduct, faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in the Office of Councillor under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of their skill and judgment.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, item 4 is declaration by councillors of any conflict of interest. Is there anyone who'd like to declare a conflict of interest? No? Okay, so next we move on to item 5, confirmation of minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a mover to move the minutes? Councillor Aldridge, and a seconder? Councillor Coulty. I'll take that to the vote. All councillors in favour? I just carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we move to item 6.1, the 26-27 draft budget and financial plan feedback from public exhibition. We will have Officer Brent Cool, the Director of Corporate, to read out the recommendation. So, is it?
Introduction.
The introduction, yes.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hall. The agenda item tonight is to consider the feedback from the public exhibition at the budget. The committee resolved to place the budget on public exhibition at its meeting on the 18th of May, and between the 20th of May and the 9th of June, members of the community were invited to make submissions to the council with respect to the content of the budget document. In total, 18 submissions were received. They canvassed a wide range of topics, from rates and financial sustainability through to capital works, community safety, economic development, environmental sustainability, and more. Officers across the council have carefully considered each of these submissions and thank the community for the time and effort placed into lodging them. The officers' consideration, together with their rationale for recommending no changes to the draft budget, is set out in the paper before the committee, and we now kindly ask the committee to consider that.
Thank you, Officer. Okay, so we have a recommendation, officer report recommendation. Do I have a councillor that has a motion to put forward? As recommended. Do I have a seconder? That's for Coulty. Councillor Milton, would you like to?
Thank you. I would urge anybody that hasn't already to read the actual report that our staff have prepared in relation to this. I think it's a really strong report that goes to the heart of considering the issues in light of all of the parameters that we have to take account of. And I think it's a well-considered report that gives really good, strong responses to the various different things that have been submitted. As is the case when we deal with these things on most occasions, there's a whole range of priorities and things that the council has to deal with, and there is never enough resources to be able to do everything that might need to be done, and we have to cut the cloth, so to speak. There are always things that are worthy that miss out, and that's the nature of the game that we play. It's the nature of good financial and fiscal responsibility. And I think the way the officers have reviewed the various submissions and presented the response that they have is an absolute credit to understanding the position the council finds itself in, understanding the views and the very different perspectives of the 7 different councillors. And I think this report sums it up quite well and is a very balanced outcome. And I think the recommendation in the motion that I've just moved sums that up quite well. So thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Coulty, would you like to speak to the motion? I will reserve. So, Councillor Aldridge.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I'd like to start by thanking everyone who took the time to make a submission during the consultation process. And having read through the feedback, it's clear that people engaged thoughtfully and raised a wide range of issues that matter to them and to our community. We heard concerns about rates and affordability, requests for specific infrastructure projects, feedback around sustainability, community safety, arts and culture, economic development and local events. Looking through the officer responses, I'm satisfied that the feedback has been genuinely considered. In many cases, the matters raised are already being addressed through existing programs, future planning work, advocacy efforts or operational processes. In other cases, the requests were weighed against competing priorities, available resources and council's long-term financial position. Having said this, I personally found all the feedback very valuable. Many of the submissions identify issues that will continue to inform council's future planning and decision-making, even if they don't result in an immediate budget amendment. For me, this is a really tough part of being a councillor. Not every suggestion can be adopted, and there are often differing views. It's our role to consider that feedback alongside all the other information available to us and make a decision that we believe is in the best interests of the broader community. Having reviewed the submissions and officer responses, I'm comfortable that the feedback has been properly considered. While there are certainly issues raised that should continue to inform council's future planning and priorities, I haven't seen anything that convinces me changes to the draft budget or financial plan are required at this stage.
Thank you. Do I have any other councillors that would like to speak?
Thank you.
Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Councillor. There are many positives in this budget, and I acknowledge the considerable work that has gone into the preparation and of the budget and the community consultation report. However, I cannot support the motion before us. What concerns me most is that despite the thoughtful and consistent community feedback, we've been asked to make no changes at all. The Local Government Act places a responsibility on councillors to represent the interests of our community. And while consultation does not mean we must agree with every submission, it should mean that we approach feedback with an open mind and a willingness to respond where appropriate. The message I've heard is remarkably consistent. People want confidence that the budget reflects community priorities and that council is listening and making thoughtful decisions and investing in priorities that matter most to our community's future. As councillors, we may ultimately reach different conclusions, but our community should be able to see where the feedback has influenced our decisions. Having reviewed the submissions, one of the strongest and most consistent themes was a concern around environmental sustainability. What is striking is that this is not new feedback. Similar concerns were raised last year and they've been raised again this year. Community members, young people and local environmental organisations are not asking council to embark on expensive new programs. They're asking for accountability of sustainability initiatives and a meaningful way for community to contribute. 22 community members have already demonstrated their willingness to offer their time and expertise. A modest investment would provide valuable community input into a future strategy and help to identify ways to reduce costs, attract external funding and strengthen council's long-term operational resilience. At the very least, I believe Council should support a committee on a trial basis. In my view, this is prudent governance and excellent return on investment. And I was also persuaded that we should consider modest support for Hothouse Theatre as it transitions towards financial autonomy. Hothouse Theatre delivers cultural, social and economic benefits to our region, attracting visitors, supporting local businesses and contributing to the vibrancy of our community. Similarly, practical safety improvements at Huon Hill, such as improved signage and access controls, are modest investments that respond directly to community safety concerns. I also support prioritising advocacy for the hydrotherapy services. A region this size should not lose the access to that important health service. I believe the community has raised several concerns and identified practical, affordable opportunities for improvement. For that reason, I'm prepared to advocate for modest changes to the budget rather than simply accept that no response is required.
Thank you. Do I have any other councillors? Speak before.
Yeah.
Yes. First, I'd just like to speak before Councillor Cordy provides her response. Firstly, I'd like to thank all the people and organisations that provided their feedback and submissions to the council on the draft budget. They were all considered thoroughly, not only by our council officers but by our councillors. It is never easy when making decisions around the budget. As a council, we need to be mindful of all our community members and ratepayers. Council's decisions are never easy, and I think I believe we've got it right, and it's a responsible budget, and so I will be supporting the budget. We will be providing sustainability responsibilities into all our services across the council, which I think we've been doing since we haven't had an officer over the last 2 years, 18 months. And I think we've been doing well with that. I believe it's an efficient way to deliver sustainable programs and policies across the council organisation as a whole. We are still committed to providing 522,000 in the council budget's capital work program over the forward 10-year estimates for energy efficient programs. So we definitely haven't left left in the lurch. Hothouse Theatre receives council peppercorn rate for their lease agreement with the council-owned infrastructure there with the theatre. If it was to be leased commercially, we would get substantially, it could be up to 35 to 55,000 per annum. So we are providing them with a fund. It might not be a financial dollar terms, but it is a strong commitment to supporting them. And we have spent well over 1.1 million on renovating the theatre over the past years. So I think we've done a fair job. As I said, there's many organisations that would like us to commit to them, but we've got to make the hard decisions. And I think this budget covers what we can afford, and with keeping our rates at a reasonable raised amount, especially in these economic times. So thank you. Councillor Coulty.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Madam Deputy Mayor. I would also like to join my colleagues in thanking everybody for making their submissions. It is always nice to see people actually read the budget, make submissions, and it is especially good to see such a wide range of topics covered. And while it is often hard, almost always hard to balance the requests of the community when some requests are talking about the financial sustainability, the rate rises and the cost of living, and others request for particular infrastructure projects and other projects or safety concerns in their area. It is always a fine balancing act. I very much recognize the difficulties and the cost of living struggles our community members are facing, and I am one of the councillors always have been who advocates for low rate rises. And our rate rises this time are under the cap, 2.38 rather than 2.75. Probably not good enough to help the cost of living, but a really fine balancing act for delivering an ambitious infrastructure program, not sacrificing our economic development, not sacrificing safety and maintenance, and still delivering low rate rise. And for that, I would also like to thank our finance team. It is always very hard to put together a budget that has a lower rate rise and lower revenue. It's easier to spend money when there is more money, but we don't have much money available, and we're custodians of ratepayers' money. There were also some comments made about the cash balances and our timely investments in infrastructure. Council is bound by a number of requirements of having certain cash balances, liquidity ratios, and having restricted cash. So I'm completely satisfied that our financial management and cash balances are balanced well of our capital works infrastructure. And lastly, there have been several very important requests, such as ramp access to in Wodonga Creek activation project, pedestrian access, pedestrian crossing in Anzac Parade, footpath connectivity, hydrotherapy pool, etc. The decisions have been made not to alter the current budget to accommodate those requests. However, I would really like to thank the submitters for those. Those requests remain there and at the back burner to inform our future focus and long-term infrastructure planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Nugent for close. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Clearly, the message I've heard from quite a wide range of constituents within our municipality that are ratepayers predominantly, is that this budget is a strong fiscally responsible budget. And I've had strong support for the change away from bureaucratic approaches to sustainability, where we employ more people and pay external groups for outcomes that are better produced by integrated sustainability across the whole organisation, which is the decision that has been included into this budget. And the support for that from the community that I've associated with has been quite strong. Hothouse have been well funded by this council over a lot of years. They've had the building which council owns and they occupy for a very, very nominal $1 a year rent, has had in excess of $1 million spent on it in upgrading and making it more suitable for their purpose. In addition to the upgrades to the buildings, we've in the past contributed funds for their recurrent expenditure, which I think is inappropriate use of ratepayers' money. And we've, as a council, have made a decision in this budget not to continue with that. And we need to avoid paying ratepayer funds to organisations for recurrent expenditure of any form. We need to avoid elitism and treat all theatre groups the same. And we must recognise that there are a lot of theatre groups in Albury Wodonga that do a lot of really strong, good work, and we should acknowledge that across the board. This is a well-balanced budget that returns fiscal responsibility to council actions and operations. And it provides and maintains all infrastructure and parks and gardens to the standards that we're accustomed to. There will always be worthwhile causes and projects that are either not high enough on the priority list or matters that ratepayers should not be paying for. This is an appropriate response to the competing issues and raised in submissions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mildred. I will put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Did you want me to read it out, or?
Yes, please.
Councillor Aldridge, Councillor Mildren, Councillor Knight, Councillor Hall and Councillor Courtney. Those against, Councillor. The motion's carried. Okay. Next, we have confidential business to which there is none. And 8.1, the chair to close the meeting and declare the meeting closed at 6:20 p.m. Thank you.